Welcome to St Thomas's Church in Ryde on the lovely north coast of the Isle of Wight. This is a special project. It's a project I came out of retirement for. We're now looking at a lovely church building. This building we're sitting in at the moment was built in 1829 by the Player and the Brigstock families. It was a private church. It was built on the foundations of the previous St Thomas's Chapel, which goes back to 1719. So what I love about this project the most is it's going to be a possibly unique combination of old and new. This is a 200-year-old church. The stained glass windows here were installed in 1884. They're going to be taken out, completely rebuilt, cleaned, repaired and reinstalled. There's over 74 plaques, some of them extremely historic and rare, are going to all be sympathetically cleaned, conserved and left in place. So this project is going to walk the line between Grade 2 listed heritage and a church for the 21st century. And really what you see here is a fantastic combination. On the Isle of Wight we have over 60 churches. Sadly, many of them now either locked up, disused, and indeed being sold for housing. So this is a project to bring this back alive, but still be able to save so much of the history and heritage. And don't forget, we are still in consecrated ground. We have the large graveyards. There are burials here, and the crypt has 16 of the original builders of the church, the Brigstocks, the Players underneath, and even earlier the catacombs under this side of the building. So it is still a place of, I guess, reverence, if that's the right word, but it's also going to come alive. And the pews behind us, which are 200 years old, they're going to become a centre for teaching computers and internet and for gaming. The kitchen on my left-hand side for teaching and cooking and allow people to make a drink. What was the original, the rooms for the vicar and co, if that's the right word again, where it's now going to be converted into showers and toilets. So people will still be able to come here and see the heritage, and indeed upstairs, which is still largely intact, as it would have been 100 years ago, is simply going to be restored. All the pews are going to be washed down with distilled water and given them 2 coats of restoration wax. We will repair the ceilings, it's going to be rewired, and we're going to redecorate, again in synthetic colours from the 1829 palette, with a new floor. And as I say, 80, 100, probably 130 children will be able to come here on a daily basis with experienced, trained and qualified staff. They're lovely people, and it's going to be a real asset to the community. So the main windows, as they were installed in 1884, 60 years after the church was built by a donation, these have now come to the end of their life. So Mary Harriet Player Brigstock paid for them. Now 200 years later, 180 years later, they've got to come out. You can see they've started to collapse and bow. So these are all going to be taken out, rebuilt by a specialist and then reinstalled. Interestingly and frustratingly, they're actually sitting inside hardwood frames. Part of me wonders if they were actually meant for this church, but they've all got to be replaced. All the huge plaques and tracery have got to be gently cleaned and conserved. And indeed, in front of me, we have these 6 tablets which date back to 1829. These are the 10 Commandments. At the moment, we only have 8. The other one is sitting over there. These have suffered over the years from damp and water, but we're going to gently conserve and clean these, restore the plaque to its rightful place, and perhaps these will be a nice guiding messages for the children of Network Ryde as they play in front. And just to protect the stained glass windows, we're going to cover them in 6mm polycarbonate just in case the errant basketball heads in the wrong direction. Well, what we do have in the church is, I say, over 74, we've now found over 80 memorial tablets, plaques, and this is perhaps one of the best known ones. This is an amazing one, sacred to the memory of Walter Locke Esquire, Vice Admiral of the Wight. Wight spelt incorrectly, but that's how they did it back then. He died in 1835, but his tablet here has a three-dimensional Tudor galleon, which is now considered to be, again, unique if not rare. And it's just one of the amazing parts of this church that we will conserve and protect, and it too can take its place in the 21st century. This will actually end up being inside one of the offices or pods. But I think that's okay, because the two can live hand in hand and side by side. And again, if you look round the rest of the plaques around the building, all the way through to the tracery, all of these will be cleaned and preserved and stay in place, but we'll have children playing and relaxing and learning. Perhaps that's what the churches in the modern age should become, because that's how they started. Well, as we've been clearing out and sorting out in preparation for the works here, we've discovered a whole raft of what I'm calling orphans, signs that go back in the church's history. We've got obviously plaques which now have no wall. This is 1832. And interesting enough, some of these are about the time the church was being built, so we wonder if they were just sort of put in one corner. Here we've got a memory of Helen. We have no position for these, so these are all going to head up into the heritage area and indeed again be cleaned, protected, because it's an important part of history. Indeed, behind you, these tubs already have other items. We have random heads and gargoyles. So one of the things I like about the church is there's always a surprise. So these turned up. We have about 5 of these. These are part of the original windows that would have sat here, are probably on the face here, damaged by enemy action in 1942 when the Isle of Wight was continually bombed through World War II. And again, these will simply be cleaned and then put up in the Heritage Centre. And of course, they'll take the place with what I call orphans. So we found him, he's turned up, he's just going to be brushed and gently cleaned. We don't know where he belongs. He's actually made out of stone. We have boxes of heads and gargoyles and lost saints, but we'll find a home for them all upstairs. Well, over the past 65 years, St Thomas's has had a varied history. And for a long time it was a heritage centre, and then actually an organisation called Friends of St Thomas's were formed and indeed won a lottery grant back in 1992. Probably the only reason the church has survived, because they made it watertight, although that failed 40 years later. And the walls were repaired and replaced. And again, we found the original St Thomas's Heritage Centre plaque and the original building companies. And looking down, I can't think that any of those organisations still exist.
Except the Heritage Lottery Fund.
Apart from the Heritage Lottery Fund. But of course, we're about to start again. So we have now on board a new team. So Leah has come on board as the Heritage Architect. I'm here as the Project Manager. We have John Sutton as the Structural Engineer. Adrian Henretti as the Architectural Technologist. And most importantly, I guess, Joe Thornton. So Joe is taking over all the heritage for the Isle of Wight as it fits in, as this church fits into the history of this small island. And she'll be leading the conservation team that will do all the conservation, restoration, and if necessary repairs, and be responsible for the Heritage Centre. And the story is, there's been so much new information found, we might even print a new guide. The last done was done by Mr. Wheeler in 1960. Well, this is one of my favourites. I think this probably dates back to the original church. It almost looks medieval. Is it a gargoyle? Is it a head? We've checked the church. There is no place in the current 1829 church we came from. So we think this is part of 1719. It was kept or lost or found. And again, it's just part of the heritage of this place over 300 years. We'll protect it, and I just think a peaceful face. And in the corner we have a plaque to George Campbell, Henville player Brigstock, part of the Brigstock families who built this church. He was a captain in the 4th Royal Irish Dragoon Guards, and of course, as we're clearing out, there we have his war chest. This dates from about 1830, and again, hidden away, buried under bits and pieces. This is his original war chest. He would take the war. Still says Campbell Brigstock, and this again will be conserved and put together. Indeed, this pew here, the big one, with its own private door, was the Brigstock's private pew right next to the sanctuary rails. Hiding in here is even the original pulpit with its stairs. I really am not too sure how we conserve and protect this, but it's on my list of things to worry about. So we're actually in the site of the earlier church, dated from 1719. This is the earliest plaque to Thomas Player Armature, who built the church. And again, there are lots of features. So beneath us are the catacombs. We now have the layout of who's beneath our feet, and even strange things. So we found and unearthed, we have the original font, which will now protected and will be gently restored. And interestingly, also an earlier font, which may even be medieval. And if you think of the generations of children that have been christened and people have come here.
Well, these are seats for the nobility.
Yeah.